Hello and welcome to the debut episode of the Ganja Geezer, a YouTube channel for the older medical marijuana patient. It's a really nice, beautiful Friday afternoon in Denver, Colorado here, and I would like to welcome you to this new channel. So step one in this process is to tell you why I've created this channel. And having come from the corporate, let's say, expelled from the corporate bowels of America after the last 20 plus years, I think I'll give you a mission statement. The mission of this channel, the Ganja Geezer, is one, to provide information about medical marijuana in Colorado for patients over 50 years of age. Also, I would wanting to review various medical marijuana edibles and flower that I would use for vaporization. This is not a channel for smokers. I don't plan on ever smoking the flower. So if that's what you're interested in, you won't get any sort of information about that here. One thing I want to do in the future, if this channel does take off, is to interview people in the medical marijuana industry. Go to dispensaries and talk to people. Ask them what their challenges are, and make suggestions and what they do for patients over 50. And finally, I'd like to answer questions that you would post down in the comments, along with feedback from you and clarifications of anything I may not be 100% correct on. That, in a nutshell, is the mission statement for the Ganja Geezer. So who am I? Why should you listen to me? Who is the Ganja Geezer? A personal background. I won't be going into this that much, but I'm retired, and since in about 1999, I have had severe back pain. I blew out a disc, my L4, my lumbar 4 disc, doing weightlifting. And when I went into the doctor, I also found out the fun information that I also, from what he could tell, had congenital degenerative disc disease. My father has also had major problems with his back. So for the last 12 or 13 years, I've dealt with constant pain at varying degrees. Now, if any of you out there have been subjected to the Western medicine on trying to diagnose pain and how to treat it, you'll be familiar with a little smiley face graphic. I'll have to dig up that photo of that picture from how 0 to 10 of what your pain is. And so I ground through that system, trying to tell and trying to articulate to my doctors of what pain I'm going through and how it's affecting me. Primarily the pain I had was localized in my lower back, of course, but with the bulging disc on the dura of my spinal sac, I was also getting nerve pain down my left leg and sometimes my right leg when it got really bad. So I dealt with this for 3 or 4 years with Advil and exercise and seen the doctor occasionally, but really didn't go any farther than that. It wasn't that bad. And around 2004, it got very bad. I'm not sure. I don't know the event that caused it or what set it off, but it was just that time for it to let me know that I've got a serious problem. So I went to an orthopedic surgeon when I lived in Kansas City, and he told me, you've got a 50-50 chance of benefiting from a spinal fusion surgery. That's where they cut open your back, lay you open, and screw the vertebrae together and get the disc out of the way so it's no longer putting pressure on the spinal column. And then he said, I can't even guarantee that you'll have any pain reduction. So here I am. I'm not a gambler, and he's telling me I've got a 50-50 chance with a 90-day plus recovery time of getting any relief from my pain. So I opted not to take that, to do the surgery, and he started prescribing, and I went different medications, and that's when the merry-go-round started. Vicodin, OxyContin, Ultraset, tried them all. They all worked to some extent. I didn't like the way they made me feel. Foggy, not that MMJ makes you clear-headed, but I didn't like the way the pain still was there and it registered in my brain, but I didn't care. It felt like I was being hijacked, and I didn't like that. Plus, not to mention the side effects of opiates, addiction, highly addictive, physically, hard on the liver, hard on the kidneys, all sorts of fun stuff. So I stopped trying those. I gave up. They weren't good enough for me to want to get addicted to. So the next round was these, I can't remember the name of the actual type of medications, but peripheral pain blockers. Lyrica, Neurontin, went through a round with those. They didn't do a damn bit of good for me. They were just money down the drain. So I gave up at that point and went back to Advil, started taking extra strength Advils, tearing up my stomach a little bit. But fortunately, around 6 months after that flare-up, it started to fade back into the manageable with 8 to 10 Advil a week. You know, enough that I shouldn't be taking it, but not enough to be tearing my stomach up. So, flash forward to 2012. Last year, I moved from Kansas City back to my hometown of Denver, Colorado, almost exactly a year ago. And I've been, helping my parents out with stuff and being retired and reading, learning things, hiking, enjoying Colorado. And about two to 3 months ago, my back flared up again. Not as bad as it was in 2004, but still bad, giving me a reminder that this is not something that's going to go away. So this time I decided not to go back to my GP, my general practitioner. I decided I'm going to find a doctor that will prescribe me medical marijuana. I am going to try this. I have gone down the route of all the different drugs. So found a doctor, Dr. Shackelford from Amerimed. He's down on South Colorado Boulevard. I'll put a link to his site in the description. Went down there, showed him a copy of my MRI, so I did have evidence to prove my point. From what he told me, he sends a lot of people away for just trying to find it for recreational purposes. But he had no problem writing this script for me. So here I am. I've got a script. I mean, it's not a script. It's not an actual prescription, of course. It's a recommendation. Until your actual card came, you can use this recommendation as a temporary pass to obtaining medical marijuana at a dispensary. So I'm thinking, great, I got this. What do I do now? I'm like, I have no clue. I hadn't smoked marijuana in 28 years. Back in college, I smoked it recreationally. So I had no idea of how to go about this. And there's really, the doctor said, I can write your recommendation. And he was good, and he recommended like brownies, and he highly recommended the edibles. Hence why this is going to be a primarily edible focused blog. But I really didn't know what to buy. I didn't know what a dose was. So I started doing research. I went to their Google thing that kids are using today, and started looking and talking about edibles and how to use medical marijuana to treat pain. And I found all the information, especially I do like visual and video explanations. I am a visual person. And I'm finding the channels that are out there, they're very informative, very well produced, but they're all predominantly the ones that I've found are run by people under 35, and I think I'm being generous with that high-end number of 35. And they also are very focused on smoking the flower, either through a bong, joint, etc., or concentrates, which I had never really heard of other than really bad hash that I'd had in college, and the way they smoke that. And these are things I really didn't want to do. I didn't want to be putting this smoke in my lungs, so I wasn't getting any really good information about medical edibles. So that's, again, why I come back to full circle here, why I wanted to create this channel. My learning experience over the last few months, doing research, actually taking some of these edibles and finding out the differences and how much is too much. That's what I want to discuss in this blog. So once again, this is the first episode of the Ganja Geezer here in August of 2012. I'm hoping I can get a following. I hope I can help people. Again, if you have any comments, both positive and negative, I would like them to be constructive and not full of expletives. But please leave comments and help me learn how to make this channel better. Thank you. Good night.